Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here, and today we decided to take a little bit of a road trip to come out to Atlanta Cutlery and peruse their fine wares. And I'm here with Travis.
How you doing, Eric?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good. You?
All right. Yeah, man. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do here.
Well, here at Atlanta Cutlery, Museum Replicas, we go under the same name. We do a lot of knife work. We sell a lot of swords. We also do a lot of medieval and period clothing that we reproduce. So you can see all sorts of cool stuff from different ages here, a lot of it real weapons, a lot of reproduction that you can get your hands on for yourself.
Outstanding. Well, do we want to look at a few products today?
Sure, let's take a look around.
Yeah.
We've got something simple here we can start out with. This is our average everyday throwing tomahawk. Now, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's so much fun. We sell this a lot, especially, spring and summertime comes around. A lot of people want to get outdoors and throw a few things. This is great. Now, the difference between a throwing tomahawk and a throwing knife is how much control you can get on it. You've got a lot more weight, which gives you a lot more ability to, take it into your own hands and put it where you want it to go.
Some leverage, so to speak.
Right.
Okay.
Simple stuff, just a basic wooden handle on an iron head. We sell the handles separate because as you throw it at rocks, trees, whatever you do, you're going to break a few, and then you can come in and get a replacement.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, I'm going to definitely have to pick one of these up, and we're going to try our hand at throwing tomahawk. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty comical, to say the least, but I'll try my best.
Don't try any of that William Tell kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess you do have quite a few other tomahawks, like more ornate ones.
Right.
Edged, or are they?
Now these are all high carbon steel tomahawk heads, so you can have them edged. They will hold a very fine edge that you can use to chop and things like that, but for the most part they're decorative.
Awesome.
These two that are pipe tomahawks are also functional, so they really follow it down to the smallest detail.
I see. So like these, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like kind of a weapon of peace and war.
Right, exactly.
You
get
war
both
on
in one
hand.
hand.
On the other end, you make peace when you smoke, right?
Exactly.
So
there you go.
that's actually a pipe.
Right. If you take it, you can just blow it in a little bit.
Very cool.
I guess nobody's going to notice that air's passing through that, but
very cool. Very cool. And this is a very high quality object. I mean, you can tell it's just it's made very well, and it's just a beautiful setup. And this is windlass.
Right. This is windlass product.
You guys deal a lot with windlass?
Windlass is our parent company, so really everything we do is windlass based at some point or another. But in-house through windlass, we make the swords and we make the clothing.
Outstanding. All right, let's look at a few other odds and ends as we go.
This is another high quality product we have that sells a lot for us. This is a red Damascus Katana. Now, usually with our katanas, we sell a few that are just display and we sell a lot that are display but still fun to use. This is one of those katanas that you have a lot of functional blade and a very affordable price. This is about, I want to say, $100 to get a full Damascus blade like this, handle, sheath, and everything. And I mean, just the color on it looks so good.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. And there for a while, William was hounding me about wanting a samurai sword. So, he says samurai sword, but when I came in last time, talked to you guys a little bit, we decided to go ahead and pick one of these up. So we will be doing a review on this, going out and slicing up some things with it. So you guys should find that relatively entertaining, I hope. So
good taste,
cool.
Good taste.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of blade for the money. And to reinforce what Travis here is saying, a buddy of mine actually bought a Damascus blank from Atlanta Cutlery probably about 6 years ago. See, they don't carry the blanks anymore, but at the time he paid close to around $250 for that blank. So this blade for $100 is one heck of a deal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely a good deal.
Yep.
Definitely looks good in your home, and that's a piece that everybody will want to talk about.
Sure, and it's something you can actually get out and play with, so it's perfect.
So what we've got here is some of our assisted opening knives. Now this is a lot of our affordable style knives, just your everyday pocket knife that everybody can carry. Now the fun of these though is that every one of them has got a spring on the inside, so you can start the action on the knife and it flips open the rest of the way for you. Now it's not quite a switchblade, so you don't have to worry about it being illegal for you to carry as well.
Yeah, some jurisdictions and states don't allow switchblade style or automatic opening knives of sorts. Georgia, to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the laws are here when it has to do with it, but
You hear a lot of different things. The main things I tell people to stick to is a 3-inch blade. That's about the width of your palm, and make sure you've got a pocket clip on it so that you can see it in your pocket so that it's not concealed and you're not carrying a concealed weapon. Now, people with license obviously don't need to worry about it.
Awesome. That's good to know.
We got one from Uzi right here. Now, this is another assisted opening knife. Now, this one uses the thumb studs to open it, so you get your thumb right under there and it just flicks open. And that's a nice bit of knife for it to snap out real fast like that, especially for $25.
You know, for 25 bucks, you really can't go wrong with these knives just because, you know, the quality of the steel is excellent for what they are. And I really like these knives a lot. And of course, IWI is a company that I, deal with on a regular basis. And, they just really make a nice product. For the money, you can't beat them. Absolutely. Cool.
Now, another one I've got from SOG here is their Slim Jim. Now, this one is for the person who wants to carry a knife without having to feel like they're carrying a giant knife in their pocket all the time. It's got an incredibly slim profile, incredibly lightweight, easy to carry, still assisted opening. And then it's got a special kind of pocket clip that lets it sit farther down in your pocket than most knives usually do, making it a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, so this is what we would consider to be an everyday carry knife.
Right.
Something that you're going to carry every day. Just like our, theories that we put forth with gun-related items where we talk about, the only gun that's as good is the one you're going to carry every day. Same thing with a knife. The only knife that's going to do you any good is the one you're actually going to go through the trouble to carry every day.
Exactly. There's nothing worse than being at a job and wanting to get something done and realize that you've left your tool and your other pair of pants.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people carry knives also for defense purposes. Some people like a backup to as an auxiliary for their firearm. Others, more of a tool purpose. I know a lot of us carry like box cutters and things like that on our jobs. So it's nice to have an everyday carry knife because, there's just so many things that you do on a daily basis that you're always grabbing for a knife.
Right. Once you get used to having one, you'll be like, how could I ever gone a day without having this knife with me?
Absolutely. Let's look at this other K-bar here. I picked one of these up for Jacob the last time I was here. I can't ever come in a place like this and not buy something. I bought the samurai sword and I bought one of these for Jacob. So tell us a little bit about it.
Now, these are some special knives from K-Bar that we got a few of. This is a different line from them, but it's got a lot of nice features in it. You've got great steel going into the knife, really heavy duty stuff, and you've got this unique kind of blade so you can get some good kind of carving cuts with it. You can really dig into it. You got a good point there, and plus with the sheath you get a little extra side knife to go with it too, and the more you get, the fun.
Okay, that could also be used as kind of like a little skinner. I would assume like the way that's set up is a good skinning knife.
Skinning knife, utility knife, so you can get the pig with it and finish the job with that, however you need to do it.
Absolutely. Well, I'm definitely liking that.
Lift that up, and that slides all the way down
and
in
just
there.
snaps in place. That's very handy. Yeah, I picked up one of these, so we will be doing a review at some point of this knife. Very cool setup. And I thought for the money, it was a very nice knife, and I wanted to get Jacob something that was kind of tactical, but also functional.
Right.
It's got a neat look to it, but without, losing any of the functionality of the knife. So that's what we were looking for there. Very neat. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Now, you were mentioning to me earlier, Eric, about some cold steel knives.
Yeah.
You want to see some cold steel?
I love cold steel.
Cold steel is
costing me money.
We've got Cold Steel's GI Tonto. This is a great, simple, fixed blade knife. You've got just one single full tang piece. You've got the blade going all the way through the handle. It's covered with their polypropylene scales, this incredibly tough plastic material. And then you've got the Secure X sheath, so that when you're carrying it, you can use it, you can carry it normally, or if you have a MOLLE vest?
Yeah, you can, this will work in conjunction with MOLLE. And then, of course, the way that this particular setup is, it's modular. So you can move this anywhere you need it.
Right.
Some people might want it down or to the side or whatever. It gives you a lot of flexibility with that type of setup. I'll tell you what, for the money, it just seems like a very well-made knife.
This is a fantastic knife for the amount of money they're asking. It makes a good throwing knife on the side. You've got a Tonto point, so you've got incredible strength in it.
That was going to be my other question for you, is what makes a knife a Tonto? That's the style of point?
That's the style of point. You see you have this extreme edge to it here, and you have the reinforcement as the blade tapers down, so that way you can get a really strong puncture with it.
So it's a good stabbing knife.
Right.
Puncture. Okay.
Got a really strong tip. All those times where they tell you don't try to pry anything with your knife, that's because you'll break the tip. This will be a little better at it, still don't do it.
Right. Yeah, well, you know, if you need a prying tool, then you set forth a prying tool.
Use that knife you don't want anymore.
Correct. Very nice.
So that's what a LARP weapon is you've got your fiberglass rod, you've got your foam on top, and the latex paint to cover it. So you've got a safe but fun, realistic looking weapon. So you can use this for costumes in places where, you know, it's not really responsible for you to take a real weapon with you.
Sure.
You can use it for LARPing, for those instances where people just have to hit each other with swords. And they're also good for kids to give them something to hit each other with that they might not lose an eye.
Yeah, exactly. So this is meant to be, I guess, a replica that you can actually take out and use, hit each other with. I mean, it's soft to where, I mean, well, this one's not. I'm sure this could hurt you still, this club.
I mean, anything you swing it hard enough, it can hurt, right?
Neat. So we've got, you know, they also carry like these style of replicas that are designed to actually hit each other with. They also have replica guns and things like that. Of course, they're non-functioning. Just one of those types of deals that it's just something neat if you need something that looks like a gun or a sword, but is not actual edged weapon or an actual firing weapon. So pretty neat. We just thought we'd show you these real quick. So yeah, we got hammers and clubs and all kind of neat things.
Everything across the board.
I like this one. Chad, can I hit you with this? Okay. Well, I thought, okay.
It was worth a try, right?
Neat.
Go ahead, hit it on the ground. See how tough it is.
Pretty tough.
I mean, like really hit.
So like you can literally like hit.
They're really
stuff.
tough.
Come here, Chad. Come here. I don't want to hit you hard.
Feels like getting hit by a wiffle bat.
Here, hit me with it.
Fair's fair, right? We're having fun now.
I gotta get one of these.
They're so much fun. When we came out with this, we did a video for them, and we got roughly, you know, 6 20-something-year-old guys together to just beat the tar out of each other with these weapons in the woods. That's a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go home with some of these swords as well. Yeah.
For the kids.
For
right?
the kids, yeah.
Right.
Not for us.
No.
All right. Well, Travis, I appreciate your time today.
Eric, good to see you.
All right, and we're gonna have a look around, showcase a few other things. You've got some costumes over here I've got to look at. They've got me
Absolutely.
intrigued. So we appreciate your time, and we're gonna actually look around a little bit over here, and we're gonna go over and talk to Monty over in the warehouse.
Ooh, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun trip. All right, let's move on. Well, I would taunt you a second time, but I don't think I really need to. We got these awesome Monty Python costumes. You know, there's just so many people that are a fan of the Monty Python franchise, and it's got really a cult following. You know, if you guys are interested in getting Barry in one of these funny Monty Python costumes, let me know. We might be able to accommodate that. One of the cool things about Atlanta Cutlery Showroom too is you can come right in, and they've got the Kukri Knives. They're actually antique Nepalese Kukri knives that came in from the shipment from Nepal. And you know, these are original Gurkha blades that were actually, you know, used by the Gurkhas of Nepal. So they actually are, you know, real historic knives. So in addition to reproductions and, you know, high quality knives of that sort that you can get in terms of swords and other reproductions, you can also get original blades as well. So these things are just really neat, and they have a lot of history. And you know, they'll hold the edge quite well. They sharpen up very nicely. Not a high quality steel as you're going to see in some of the, you know, newer stuff, obviously, but they are very cool pieces of history, and they're affordable history. All right, while you're in getting your knife and gun fix on, you can get your wife a sexy set of boots while you're at it. Look at those boots. Isn't that a trip? One of the other products that they carry here, they also have edged medieval style swords, as you saw in some of the other shots, both decorative and edged swords. They also carry a unique blade called obsidian, which is of course like a volcanic rock that's formed or basically chiseled into a blade. It's volcanic glass essentially. So they have a lot of very interesting cutlery. If it's one of those things that you're just into knives, you really owe it to yourself to come by here and check out their showroom. Of course, there's things in the catalog that you're not going to see in the showroom, but across the board, it's a really unique experience to be able to come in and check out some of the stuff that they've got. They got a very knowledgeable sales staff and really just an awesome place in general. If you're into medieval cutlery or if you're into just any type of knife, it's just a really cool place to come. Of course, we are going to go over to the place I want to go to is the gun warehouse. We're going to go over there and talk to Mr. Monty, and let's see what he's got in store for us over there. All right, well, we came over here to the warehouse to have a look around at some of the antique firearms that Atlanta Cutlery has at their disposal as well. Of course, we have a Bira gun here, which is a very historical and rare Gatling style or otherwise hand-cranked machine gun. It's really goes a little far to call it a machine gun. It's 577, 450 Martini Henry cartridge, 2 barrels, very cool setup. The main point of us being here today, we're going to look at a couple of the small arms that they sell, antiques. So we're going to move on to look at a few of these pallets. I mean, they basically have entire pallets of long guns. Here in the background, you can see them literally stacked like cordwood, you know, in this warehouse. So we're going to have a look around and see what kind of neat things we can discover. Up until recently, firearms like the Sniders, Martini Henrys, Gehendras, Francot pattern Martinis, all of those types of rifles have been very obscure and hard to obtain. Of course, if you guys, unless you guys have been under a rock for the last 5 or 6 years, you know that Atlanta Cutlery and IMA collaboratively brought in a large cache from Nepal. And of course, now we have a surplus of these guns now where shooters and collectors can get into the firearms for a very reasonable price, and you can have a part of history. A lot of these guns are sold in what they call an untouched configuration, which means that they're basically as they were found in the palace and storage grounds in Nepal. So this right here, we have a Mark I Martini. This is a very early gun. You can tell the early guns by the thumb rest on the receiver, and they have checkered butt plates usually. Very, very nice guns. Of course, this is an untouched gun, so they do require cleaning. Now, the thing about their firearms is that they're not sold as shooters. They're sold as curio and relic, you know, collectible, wall hanger. But we have found that several of these guns, if properly restored, and if you take the time to clean on them properly and have them safety checked, that they do indeed function just fine. So we're going to move on, show you a couple of the other odds and ends that they have in this cache. It's just a wonderful treasure trove of guns under this roof right now. Very cool. All right, we got a wonderful palette of Martini Mark IV long levers. The long lever was a later addition they made to the Martini Henry series of rifles. You know, the early casings were foil and they had difficulty with extraction. Later on, they switched to a drawn brass case like I have here. This is a hand load that I put together. We are going to be doing some shooting with the Martini Henry rifles in some upcoming videos and the Sniders. And I'm going to show you how to make your own ammunition, how to test them for safety. We're going to do some restoration and show you guys, you know, some of the things you can run into to, you know, both restore and shoot these rifles. Again, they're not sold as shooters, but we found that very many of them, of course, are in shootable condition with proper restoration techniques applied and with proper safety testing applied in the guns. The original cartridge was a beast of a cartridge. You can fit about 110 grains of black powder in this cartridge. So if you load it to full capacity, it's a butt-kicking cartridge. So we're going to get out and shoot some martinis soon. We hope you'll watch that. The long levers, in my opinion, are going to be more indicative of the guns that are in a lot higher quality condition. And that's because these weren't used as long. They had a very short service life. You know, the Nepalese government and the British government, of course, swapped to the Martini Metford later on, which used a 303 cartridge, and it soon replaced the original large bore martinis, whereby a lot of the big bore martinis, like the 577 450, continued to see use in a lot of, you know, skirmishes and small campaigns and rear D type service on into World War I. It's just that, of course, you know, the British had their typical, you know, means of, you know, they always wanted their colonies to be like one step behind in the firearms of what they were using. So if the British were issuing 303 Martini Metfords, then obviously their colonial, you know, constituents would have the long levers or the short lever Martinis. So wonderful guns. Again, we will discuss these in more detail as time goes on. All the guns that I've showed you thus far are what would be considered untouched or lightly cleaned firearms. We are going to show you some that are completely restored, so you can see the, you know, the real beauty of these guns once they're properly brought back to life. All right, here's an example of what you can expect to see in a Martini once they're properly cleaned up, and light restoration work. Now remember that restoration and refinishing are two totally different concepts. Restoration involves obviously restoring the gun to the original finish that it would have had. Now if that means refinishing it in a way that would be, you know, similar to that, that's one thing. But what's done here is good basic restoration work. You're removing all the surface dirt, getting down to the original finish of the wood, getting all of the dirt and grime and surface corrosion off of the metal, and usually they're not corroded on the metal. Like all the ones that I've looked like below the wood line, they don't have any kind of pitting usually. And that's because that the mountains of Nepal provided a very, very stable environment for keeping firearms in good shape. The air is very dry, it's not very humid up there, and the weather is just about right. So a lot of these guns were literally like just put in a building in pretty much open air. So they had very good storage conditions with the weather in Nepal. And we see that these guns are in wonderful shape. They restore beautifully. And you know, I just love these early short lever Martinis. You know, they have the thumb groove on the receiver. The way that the British soldiers and Nepalese soldiers were trained to fire the Martini was that when they would hold the weapon up, you would put your thumb right there. And that was because if you wrapped your thumb when you fired the gun, some soldiers would bust their nose with their thumb. So they would have it, that's what that groove is for, is because that's the way they would train them to hold the gun like this. Thumb forward, and you're good to go. Of course, early short lever, which is a really, really neat little setup. Very cool guns. Again, we will get out there with these and do some shooting with them soon. You guys are really going to get a kick out of these guns. All right, we're going to show you a very special Snider here. This is actually a very obscure pattern gun from the Nepalese cache. And this is a gun that they would have used to demonstrate the proper, you know, function of the gun, the fit and finish of the gun, the way the parts are supposed to interline and everything like that, and arrange. And this is one of those guns that would have been used for that purpose. Much like an armorer's gun, like for the armory, they would have it to show. And as a pattern gun, it's a pretty rare gun in the Snider category. And that's this marking right here. So there are a lot of, you know, unique treasures in this cache of guns from Nepal that, I mean, a lot of stuff that's very obscure and very rare. And that's what makes this so special, is that, you know, you just have a lot of history in there and a lot of unique things that you're just not going to find by going down to the gun store and buying a Winchester Model 70, you know what I mean? So we will be getting out and shooting a Snider as well. So you guys are really going to get a kick out of these old guns when we get out there with them. All right, here we have a very nice example of a Francot pattern Martini. And what the Francot pattern guns were essentially domestically produced Martinis. They're not British produced, they're actually made, you know, in Nepal. The quality on the guns, not quite as good as their British counterparts. they did see a lot of use. So you'll see the Frank cots are usually in a lot worse shape than the short lever and long lever Martini variants are, the British made ones. But this is, believe it or not, a very nice example of that pattern of gun. Many of you out there are collectors like me. You like to have the whole set, and I'm one of those kind of people. I like to have the whole set. So come on in here and pick you out a nice Frank cot. Even if it's just regulated to a wall hanger, it's still an awesome gun to have and a very important part of British and Nepalese history. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed our tour today of Atlanta Cutlery's facilities. I want to thank them for giving me an opportunity to come and check out everything they've got to offer. Of course, we have a treasure trove of antique weaponry behind me and in this facility, and of course a ton of awesome knives, things of that nature. So I would encourage you guys to check them out. You know, if you ever have any questions, feel free to come by the pawn shop, talk to us. We'll be happy to do what we can to help you, especially if you're ever going to get into one of these Sniders or a Martini from a standpoint of shooting them. You're welcome to bring your specimen by the shop. We'll be happy to look at it and give you an idea if it's safe to shoot or not. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned because we will have some footage of these guns being fired, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and thanks for watching.